BuzzFeed, which is mostly left-wing and not entirely credible, they recently asked their community members for the best advice that they received from their grandmothers. And some of these were funny, so I'm going to share my favorites here. Submitted by Raquela40A1083F4. Who named that girl? If you have a stain on your clothing, move around a lot. No one will be able to notice it. That's good. That's a good idea right there. Yeah, right? Then you never have to wash anything. Submitted by Caitlin Del Castillo. Never cheat in a poker game. They'll shoot you. Submitted by Charmin Michelle. Squeezably soft. Never let anyone mispronounce your name. That's so true, isn't it, Naomi? She's like, "Arr." Submitted by Anna 4BE55AE6D. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade and go hang out with someone whose life gave them vodka. Don't judge me. It's just a joke. I had vodka once in my life, and I didn't like it, and I still don't like it. But it's a funny joke. Submitted by MT Anthony. The best advice my grandma ever gave me was not to marry a man for his teeth. She said she fell in love with my grandfather because of his beautiful teeth. So she was very disappointed 50 years later. Those beautiful teeth were in a cup. Take them out every night and wash them. Or if you're in Alabama, don't marry him because of his beautiful tooth. That was mean. Yeah. Sorry for all the Alabama listeners on YouTube that will see this and get offended. 2 teeth. Do they have 2? 1 top, 1 bottom? I don't know. All right. Submitted by Chloe M. Lots of numbers. If you can no longer laugh at yourself, you're dead already. Yeah, that's a good one. That's actually wise there. Submitted by, Sadie SSS. This is truer advice than you realize. Don't get a boyfriend, get a cat. Okay, last week we started the Lessons for Living from those who've been there, inspired by the book 30 Lessons for Living by Carl Pillemer. He interviewed thousands of Americans aged 65 to 102, asking them what they learned in life, because he realized that this generation, anybody who's older has been through some stuff and hopefully has learned some stuff, but that generation in particular had been through World War I, the Great Depression, World War II, the fear of atomic collapse, atomic warfare, mutually assured destruction. They've been through all that stuff, some pretty major things. They had not been through COVID or an insurrection, but they've been through some similar difficult times. And they're about to pass away. So he's like, I want to learn some stuff from them before they're gone, and this resource of wisdom, we can never tap that again. And so he asked them, interviewed thousands of people asking them their advice for life. Proverbs 20:29 says, the glory of young men is their strength, gray hair the splendor of the old. So the word splendor is hadar in Hebrew. It basically means glory. What this verse is saying is, look, young guys, your glory, the cool thing about the young guys is they're strong. Maybe they're not the brightest yet because they haven't lived through it all yet, but they're strong. They got a lot of energy. They can get stuff done. The glory for the old guys is that they're old. They've been through it. They've learned some stuff. And so just like, when we take advantage of young people all the time, you need to move some furniture or stack the chairs or get out the tables. We say, hey, young guys, hey, where's the teenagers? Help us move this stuff because they're strong. They got energy and they're not going to hurt their back by lifting something. Well, we should take advantage of older people who've been through it. Maybe they don't have a lot of strength left and energy left, but they've lived life and they've learned some stuff. And we would be fools if we wouldn't take advantage of that opportunity to grow and learn. So beginning a new year, 2025 now, I thought it'd be a great way to start by learning some of the wisdom that they've learned, and then maybe you can redirect your year, redirect your life a little bit. And some of the stuff, well, if you were here last week, which I think all of you were, Some of it you were probably like, well, that's very basic. Yeah, I know that. I've heard that already. Oh, yeah. None of these things will blow your mind. But it's all stuff that, to me, it's like, okay, some of those basic things are the things we need to do. A lot of times, the things that we've been told over and over and we've heard over and over, it's easy just to ignore that. But those are the things that make the most impact in your life. And especially coming from these guys that are 90, 100 years old, hearing them say it, it's like, all right, it really means something because they've been through it. They've tried all the other options and they've realized this is the truth. Live it. So he has 30 lessons in his book. I'm only going to go through 18 of them. The other 12, whatever. No, the other 12 were good too. Just these were the 18 that impacted me the most. I had 19, but it just seemed weird to share 19 lessons. I'm like, I don't know. 18 sounds good. 20 sounds good. 19, I was like, that's weird. I can't do 19. So if you want to know the 19th one, we'll talk afterwards. I'll let you know what it is. He breaks up the lessons into 5 topics: marriage, your career, parenting, getting older, living without regrets, and leading a happy life. Just to quickly review what we talked about last time. Topic number 1, marriage. Lesson 1, friendship is as important as romantic love. Marry someone you actually would enjoy as a friend, someone you would like to hang out with. And then when you're married, be their friend. Do stuff together. Enjoy their company. Lesson 2, don't keep score. Marriage is not a contract where you agree with your spouse, hey, I'll do A, B, and C, you do D, E, F. And if you don't carry your part, I'm not doing my part. It's not a contractual agreement where you put in your part, they put in their part. Marriage is where you do everything you can and they do everything they can, and then the marriage works. One of the older guys talked about it, described it as a team of horses pulling a heavy wagon. And both of those horses, or all of those horses, depending on how many you have there, they're all pulling with all they have. And it's not necessarily divided out evenly. Everybody's pulling with everything they've got, and then it works. Then the wagon can move. Same thing with the marriage. You go into it saying, I'm giving it my all. And there might be some times where your spouse is sick, or your spouse is not feeling it. Your spouse is depressed and discouraged, and maybe they need you to carry a little bit more of the weight because they're going through something right now. Well, that's okay. You carry a little more weight, and maybe there's times where you're not able to do everything that you want to do. They carry that weight for you because you're pulling together, giving everything you can. Lesson 3, don't just commit to your spouse, commit to marriage itself. You don't leave room for divorce, barring extreme situations of abuse or things like that. If you want the marriage to work, you commit not just to your spouse that you love them and care for them, but you commit to the marriage as an institution where you say, we will make it work. All right, going on to the next topic. And I'm going to just breeze through all these review ones quick just to catch us up to speed. Topic 2, career. Lesson 4, choose a career for the intrinsic rewards, not the financial ones. Don't take a job you hate just because it pays well. Do something you love. It's way more important to find something that you enjoy doing, even if it doesn't pay as well. But a qualifier of that, all of the elders also said, don't be a starving artist just because you enjoy that and now you can't live. Find something that you can pay the bills with, but set that as your goal. I want to pay my bills, and if I got to live off a little less, that's okay, because I'm doing what I love. Don't set your standard, I'll do what I love, and if I got to live on the street in a tent, that's okay. No, you want to be able to pay the bills and survive. But do what you love. Don't just do a job because you get paid well for it. Lesson 5, be willing to take a risk to find a job you enjoy. I shared this quote last week, and I thought this summarized this point really well. If you don't take any risks, this was one of the older guys shared this, if you don't take any risks, you don't get any sweetness out of life. And the truth of the matter is that the sweetness of life comes with the risk. Not just with your career, but with all of your life. If you want to get the reward, you got to be willing to take a risk. Step out in faith. Lesson 6, make the most out of a bad job. If you can't get the job you want, love the job you're with. So if you're stuck in a bad job, you don't like it, and you're hoping to get out someday, but you can't get out right now, well, make the best of it. Be a blessing there. Serve in excellence. Serve with all your heart. Do all things as unto the Lord, it says in the scriptures. Learn all you can. Observe how people work, how your coworkers work. Observe the good bosses, the good managers, the bad managers, and learn and grow as you're there. And then when an opportunity comes to leave and you find a better job, well, take that. But you're leaving having done your best, having learned, having grown, and gained something out of a bad job. Topic 3, parenting. Lesson number 7, it's all about time. Your kids want time with you more than they want the money that your stuff can buy. All the old people, they talked about, some of them had said, I'm so glad I invested in time with my kids and I didn't take this promotion or take that job opportunity because it would have cut too much family time out. I'm so glad I prioritized my family because now I have a relationship with my kids to this day. Others said, I wish I would have prioritized spending time with my kids instead of working so hard to buy a bigger house, get them stuff, to fill the house with the stuff. I wish I would have actually spent time with them because I don't know my kids now. You're not going to regret at the end of your life, you're not going to regret clocking in more at work. You are going to regret not spending time with your kids or not spending time with your friends and those that you've loved, other people. So invest in, if you don't have kids, invest in the people in your life would be the lesson there, not in getting more stuff. Lesson 8, take a lifelong view of relationships with children. The bulk of your relationship with your kids will be with them as adults. So invest in them now as kids, knowing that one day you're going to be in your 90s and your little baby girl is going to be in her 60s and you still want to be friends with them. Topic 4, getting older. Lesson 9, being old is much better than you think. They all talked about that they thought getting old would be bad, and there's not like a day where like you're 78, now you're old. But, it's a transition. Jack said that Jesse's old already. He didn't say that about me because I'm 1 year younger than her. But they all said getting old was a lot better than they thought it was going to be. They talked about 2 main things, having a sense of peace and contentment in their lives that they didn't have earlier, and having a sense of adventure and the freedom to actually pursue new desires, new skills, new things that they couldn't do before because they were tied down to a job and raising kids and taking care of their family. But now they had time to actually pursue that stuff, and so they had a new sense of adventure come on them that they were not expecting. Lesson 10, act now like you will need your body for 100 years. Neglecting your body, your physical health now, will not lead you to a merciful end where you get to see Jesus sooner. What it'll do is it will cause it so you finish your life miserably with 20, 30 years of suffering, dementia, heart problems, being carted around in a wheelchair, hooked up to an oxygen tank because you can't breathe because you smoked your whole life. You will suffer in the end. And a lot of these guys, they talked about the worst part of it was, the spouses that had, people that had spouses that didn't take care of their health. They said the worst of it was me and the kids having to see them suffer for 20 or 30 years. And we knew if they just would have stopped smoking, if they just would have taken care of their health, got some exercise, stopped overeating, it all would have been better. So take care of your body now. Treat it like it's got to last for 100 years because you might live 100 years. And you're either going to live 100 years with decent health or you're going to live 100 years with 20 to 30 of that wishing you would die because you're going to be miserable, not able to live the life you want to live. So take care of your body now instead so you don't have to go through that and you don't put your loved ones through that, watching you hurt, slowly, painfully fade out. There are 5 little things that make a massive impact in your health that you can do now. Don't smoke, don't drink too much alcohol, get exercise, don't overeat, and sleep 7 to 8 hours a night. If you take care of those things, those will make a dramatic impact on your long-term health. It's not that difficult, but you got to do it. So take care of your body now. This one in particular, I mentioned it last week, it hit me hard because I had used that thinking. I'd said, well, I would eat generally pretty healthy and I get a little bit of exercise. I'm not, massively out of shape, but I need to do better. I don't get enough sleep. That's the big one for me. And I don't get enough exercise. But I've been thinking, well, that's okay. I'll just die early and see Jesus. And then I win. Ha ha. I got my candy bars and I get to see Jesus. But that's not what really happens. You don't get to just mercifully escape and see Jesus sooner. You fade out in misery and you cause problems for everybody else around you. So don't do that to those you love. Okay, that's the review. Moving on to new stuff. Topic 5, living without regrets. And this is some of the stuff that I really liked. One 76-year-old said this: remember, you only get one chance to go through this life. Don't ruin it for yourself by doing something foolish. What you do now, you will always remember. You'll always feel either joy or regret about it happening. That is so true. There's stuff that I remember doing as a little kid. I remember when I was 5 years old, stomping on my friend Josh's rubber ant, and I knew it hurt him, and I carried that with me until I got saved at like 20 years old. And I remember going through deliverance, and that came up, and I don't remember how it came. Oh, I had to forgive him because he said something bad to me, and then I stomped on his ant and broke his ant, and it came up 15 years later going through deliverance, and I was still carrying it. And I still think about it to this day. I'm like, man, I really shouldn't have done that to Josh. You're going to remember stuff. You're going to remember the foolish things you did. You're going to remember the dumb things you did. You're going to remember the hurtful things, the things that you caused to hurt other people. You're going to carry that with you. And now there is forgiveness for you. And I don't carry this weight, this guilt of I wish I never would have done that. No, Jesus forgave me. The guilt, I don't carry that guilt anymore. But I do remember it, and I do wish I would have been a better friend to Josh. And that's one of the last times that we saw each other was when I destroyed his little toy ant. Stuff. So don't do dumb stuff that you're going to regret when you're in your 90s, because you don't just forget it. Yeah, Jesus forgives you, and he can take the guilt away. If you confess your sin to him, he can take the guilt away. And the devil will keep trying to torment you with that stuff, but you got to just keep telling him, no, I repented, Jesus forgave me, leave me alone. But don't give him more ammunition than he already has. You have an amazing opportunity to take his weapons away from him by not doing stupid stuff that you're going to regret and that he can use against you. So live for Jesus with all your heart now so you don't have regrets later on. So in this chapter, the author asked them, what are concrete things that younger people can do now to avoid regrets in later life? Lesson 11. This one, almost every single one of those interviewed said this statement: always be honest. And what they meant by that is not just always tell the truth, but they meant always be sincere. Always walk in integrity. Do what's right no matter what. Yes, tell the truth, but also just be true. Walk in righteousness. Be a person that others can depend on. Be a person that walks in faithfulness. That's others can trust. Be a person of integrity. Many of them shared heartbreaking stories of cheating on their spouses or lying to their bosses or cheating customers. And they carried that with them decades later. They're in their 90s and they're talking about, when I was in my 40s, I cheated on my wife and it ruined our relationship. It destroyed our marriage and I've never recovered from that. Don't do something stupid that you're going to regret later in life. Always walk in integrity, always walk in honesty, walk in sincerity, do what's right. One 83-year-old put it this way: if you're honest with all the people around you, no matter what happens, you can look at yourself in the mirror in the morning and say, I haven't done anything wrong. In other words, you've made the right decision if you're honest. But just be honest. Walk in integrity. There are many opportunities in your life to lie, to cheat, to defraud someone else, to take advantage of them. You will regret it if you take that opportunity. Just do what's right, even if it hurts at the time. You'll look back on it and be so grateful. Lesson 12, say yes to opportunities. The author writes this: when offered a new opportunity or challenge, you are much less likely to regret saying yes and more likely to regret turning it down. Some of the most reported regrets that these people talked about in their interviews were times when they had an opportunity to do something, but they weren't sure if they could do it or not. And they said, well, no, I don't want it. And it's tormented them. There's these guys in their 80s and 90s talking about, when I was in my 30s, I had an opportunity to study abroad, but I was a little nervous about what Europe would be like. And I said, no, but I've always wondered, what would have happened? Who would I have met? What would I have learned over there? 60 years later, they're still thinking about that. Just say yes. Don't be one of those people that God gives you an opportunity and you go, well, I don't know. Well, I don't think I could. Well, it seems kind of hard. Well, just try. Say yes. Give it a go. Overwhelmingly, in these interviews, the elders that took a risk at a critical time, said yes, tried an opportunity. Whether they succeeded or failed in that opportunity, they had way fewer regrets than those that didn't say yes to the opportunity. You know, if you say yes to a new opportunity and it doesn't turn out well, you can always just stop. You can go back to what you were doing before. You could say, you can go, well, I tried, I failed, oh well. Okay, try something new now. But if you say no, you're going to always wonder, what would have happened? Would I have succeeded? How would I have grown? How would I have changed? What would I have learned? What would have happened if I would have said yes to that? If you don't want to have regrets at the end, say yes to opportunities. One 73-year-old business leader, he said, it really pays to say yes, unless you've got a really solid reason to say no. Life gets boring if you say, no, I don't want to try anything new. If you're one of those people that says, no, I can't do that, or I don't want to do that, you're missing a lot of what life has to offer. Life is an adventure, but to take advantage of it, you have to say yes to things. You can't just play it safe. And if you say yes, I'll repeat it, if you say yes and you screw up, you fail, you're gonna feel great because you tried. And then you can go and try something else, and maybe you'll succeed at that. But if you just keep saying no, 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 because you're too worried, you're too scared, you're not sure if it's going to work out well, then you're going to always wonder, what if I would have succeeded? The author in the book, he shared a story of Jeff Bezos, who started Amazon. He said back before he started Amazon, he was thinking about it, and he had his life savings in the bank, and he was thinking about starting this, Amazon, this giant online mall. And back then, nobody was really selling on the internet. You had a few little things here or there, but nobody was really doing that. And he had this idea, starting Amazon, and like the Walmart, the internet Walmart, and he's thinking about the business model and all that. And he realizes it's going to take our entire life savings to start this thing, and we might fail, we might lose it all, and I'm going to have to carry that with me my whole life. And so he asked himself, would I feel more regret if I dump my life savings into this thing and we fail and I got to start over with something else? Or would I feel more regret if I don't put my life savings into it and I don't know what happened? And he realized I'd feel more regret if I don't put my life savings into it, and I always wonder. So he put his life savings into it, and we all know Amazon rules the world. So thank you. We can get everything, anything you want, you can get tomorrow. Beautiful. Just try. Go for it. If you fail, try something else. Lesson 13, travel more. Whether the elders had traveled the world over, yeah, Lisa's like, oh yeah. Some of these guys, this one person had traveled, they traveled the entire world, circumnavigated the globe. I think it was like 2 times or something. And they keep traveling, popping into other nations all the time. And they're in their 80s, they're still traveling. So there were some guys he interviewed that had traveled all over the place, others that had barely left their state. Every single one, 100% of those he interviewed, at the end of their lives, they said, I wish I would have traveled more. Whether they never left their state or whether they went to 200 countries. They all wanted to see one more place. You will regret it. That's their consensus. Every one of them says you will regret it if you don't travel now. You might be hearing this and you might be like, no, I like Wisconsin. I like Oconomowoc. I never want to leave my county. It's beautiful here. Why would you leave? You have cheese and beer. There's no reason to leave. Everything's perfect. I get it. The cheese and beer are great here. But you will regret it later in most likely, you will regret it later in your life if you don't travel, if you don't see the world. From the book, he writes, the experts, that's what he calls the older people because they're experts at living since they've done it a few years. The experts have a special message for younger people, younger than 65. So that's all of us, right? The experts have a special message for younger people regarding travel. Do it now. Some of the most regretful elders are those who put off travel until it was too late. So here's a clear opportunity to avoid a future regret. Travel while you have the time and the physical ability, and while you can have your favorite travel companion by your side. Most people look back on their travel adventures, big and small, as highlights of their lives and regret not having traveled more. I can recount so many people, as a church, we've organized mission trips. Some, places like New Orleans or for disaster cleanup, or some international mission trips. And I can remember so many people that I've tried to get to come on a mission trip, to go, or on like a road trip or a backpacking trip or something, or Boundary Waters, and they go, well, I really like Wisconsin. I had one guy tell me, there's no reason to ever leave Wisconsin. I don't know why you're so excited about other places. This is the most beautiful place in the world. But there seems to be this mentality in small town Wisconsin of, I don't know, why leave? Everything's great here. There's nothing to see out there. You will change. Your perspective of the world will change. Just get outside of your state, it's going to change. But if you can get outside of the nation, go to a different country, your perspective of people, your perspective of God is going to drastically change. Your understanding of how the world works will drastically change. Even just like being a tourist, go to Tijuana and stay in the resort. You're going to change because you're going to see things from a little different perspective. Even better if you can get with the regular people. But even that, though, just going to a different country will change you. You will grow. You'll mature. You'll love God in a deeper way. You'll understand and appreciate the blessings that He's given you in a way bigger way. Go to Africa, and you will appreciate air conditioning and hot water so much. Coming back from mission trips in Africa, oh my gosh, that first hot shower, it's like, oh, this is amazing. I love it. Flat roads. Our potholes here, there's some roads that are pretty potholed, but just go to a third world nation, and these potholes won't bother you as much anymore. Yeah. What's that? Sorry? Indoor plumbing. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's a huge blessing. Yep. Yeah, Turkish toilets. Okay, what do we got here? One 78-year-old woman, I love this. She goes, travel is so important. And they emphasize, look, they understand, in some of the interviews, he would ask them, well, what do you say to the people that are young, they've got a bunch of young kids, and they're just strapped for money? What do you say to them? And they emphasize, look, spend your money on travel, not on stuff. The benefits you will get, the long-term benefits you will get in yourself personally and in your family and the relationship you have with your wife or your spouse and your kids will be immeasurable from traveling versus just buying a bigger TV, getting a nicer car. Those are short-term benefits, and they don't pay off as much as the benefits you get from traveling. So they emphasize over and over again, if you're going to sacrifice money somewhere, don't sacrifice the travel money. You need that. This is not biblical, but it is wisdom from those who've been there and done it, and how to live without regrets. So this one 78-year-old woman, I love it. She writes here, travel is so important. I still travel, even though I'm prone to falling now. I fell in Russia. I fell in Italy. She goes on, a friend wants me to go to Germany. Well, I'm willing to fall in Germany if it's necessary. I love that. And I get it. Cramming yourself into one of those little chairs in an airplane is miserable, and they don't feed you enough. I get airsick sometimes from airplanes. I hate turbulence. I get real claustrophobic being stuck in that airplane, but I want to see the world, and I want to change. I want to grow. I want my perspective of God and His people to expand. I want to know Him better, so I'm willing to do that. Travel, see the world. Otherwise, you will have regrets at the end, because one day you're going to be too old and too sick probably to be able to travel, and you'll go, it would have been nice to see the Rockies, but now you can't. Lesson 14, say it now. It now. Nobody else said it now? Come on. Say it now. Many elders expressed regrets for not talking to those they loved. I was going to say not talking to them until it was too late. Well, not talking to them, and then it was too late. A lot of people talked about, I never told my husband I loved him. I rarely told my wife how much she meant to me, and she was the only one I loved. And now she's dead, and I can't say anything to her. Say it now. Tell those you love how you feel about them now. And the other side, too, some shared about a big regret they had was they had rivalries with people, conflicts with them, and they never resolved it. And then when they finally were like, you know what, I got to heal this relationship, they went to go find them, and they were dead. Say it now. Do it now. Tell the people you love how you feel about them now. Don't wait till they're dead, because then they can't hear it. They're not going to be they're either Christians and they're watching Jesus and they're worshiping Jesus in heaven. They're not watching their funeral and hearing you go up there and give a eulogy. They're not going to hear it. Tell them now how you feel about them and restore relationships now. It's not worth having, a 20-year rivalry with someone and being bitter with them. Resolve it now. Heal that relationship now. Otherwise, someday it's going to be too late and you're going to regret it. One guy, a 72-year-old guy, had a really succinct way to put it. He said, "Send flowers to the living. The dead never see them. Send flowers to the living. The dead never see them." Proverbs 3:28 says, "Do not say to your neighbor, 'Come back tomorrow and I'll give it to you,' when you already have it with you." If your neighbor comes to you for help, comes to you for something, and you've got it with you, help them now. Don't tell them, I'll get it to you tomorrow. Do it now. If God has put something on your heart to do it now. If you have someone in your life that you care about, tell them how you feel now. One day it's going to be too late. If there's a relationship that needs to be restored, restore it now. Don't wait until it's too late. Proverbs 27, verse 1, "Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring." We don't know. You may not have another day. They may not have another day. Do it now. Say it now. All right, topic 6. This is the last topic, I think. Yes. Topic 6, leading a happy life. So in this chapter, he asked the question, what can we do to lead the happiest life possible, according to America's elders? Lesson 15, time is of the essence. This lesson also impacted me a lot. He writes here, "Sometimes people who have something very important to say, something that they know deep down in their bones is true, find it difficult or impossible to get anyone to pay attention. Typically, this happens at some point with teenagers. You try to convince them of a fact that you know from your life experience, an apparently simple point, such as that studying harder just might lead to better grades. Ooh. And most of us have encountered the smug look or the rolling eyes that convey, yeah, right, but I know better. It's one step away from putting fingers in their ears and singing, I'm not listening. With this lesson, time is of the essence, the experts are the adults, and we are all the teenagers. From the vantage point of their 70s and beyond, the elders emphasize this particular message with a mix of frustration and urgency. For some experts, this revelation came suddenly. For others, it slowly crept up on them. But nearly all found the speed with which life passes to be breathtaking when viewed from the end. And the oldest were the most surprised of all. Looking at how young people squander time, they're like members of a desert tribe staring in dismay at our profligate use of water. Isn't that powerful? It's like, think of all the time we waste looking on YouTube, watching cat videos, searching for memes, arguing with people on Facebook, people you will never meet and they will never listen to you and they don't care what you have to say. I don't know, all the dumb stuff we waste our time on. One day you're going to be old and you're going to go, why didn't I just take all that time and learned an instrument or served someone or painted paintings, read a book, learned something, done something with my life instead of wasting it in mindless activity? One 68-year-old said, when they tell you that life is short, that's what they mean, and it is true. 68 years have gone by very, very fast, and it seems like yesterday that I graduated from high school, and that was 50 years ago. Life on this earth is but a nanosecond. A 99-year-old said, the time goes so fast, I can't believe it. The older I get, the quicker the time goes. Before you know it, I'm 100. One 94-year-old said, starting out, The years just roll slowly. There's no such thing as looking ahead and thinking, oh, when I get to be 60 or 70. But you're going to get there. We're all getting there. No one is going to be left out. Well, hopefully. Everybody is going to know what it's like to be 90. And believe me, it came so quickly, I didn't know it was happening. They emphasized this over and over and over again. Every single one of them emphasized this point that life is short. So take advantage of every moment. Have you all heard the phrase carpe diem? What movie did you hear it from? Yeah. We are all so brainwashed by Hollywood. Great movie. Really cool movie. I love that movie. Carpe diem. And what does it mean? Seize the day. Well, I found out from this book a better, more accurate translation. Seize the day is good. But he said the Latin, a better translation of the Latin would be harvest the day. Like every day has a potential. Every day there's some fruit to get out of that day. Harvest that day. Find the good in that day. See what you can suck, the marrow that you can suck out of that day. Don't just waste it. One day you're going to be at the end of your life, and you won't get an extra day. You won't get an extra moment. Take advantage of every day you have. Suck the marrow out of it. Harvest that day for the potential you can get from it. This could be depressing. They don't mean it. In these interviews, they talk about it in a real hopeful way, not in a depressing way of like, oh man, time is short and it's all over and oh, woe is me, the sky is falling. But more in love life. Find the joy in life. Some of them talked about, they shared this, I should have put this in my notes. It's a Jewish rabbinical saying that we will be held accountable for every appropriate pleasure that we did not take in this world. Every appropriate pleasure. So, God has given you a life that he wants you to spend for him. Not that it's all for your enjoyment to have, that's not the ultimate goal of your life, to maximize your pleasure in this physical world, this physical existence. But he's given you a life to live for him. And you will be held accountable for each of your days. What have you done with this life? And when you're in your 90s, you're going to look back and go, why didn't I spend more of my time in something good? Why did I waste so much time just tubing out and whatever, arguing with people or being worried or gossiping or whatever it is? Don't waste your time. Suck all the good you can out of every day that you live. He wrote here, the experts urge you to be more lavish in how you use your time, to embrace life enthusiastically. They know that each day is one you will never get back, so why not make the most of it? I think about how easy it is to get sucked into things that ultimately don't matter. Again, at the end of your life, you're not going to look back and think, I wish I would have done a little bit more overtime. I wish I would have worked a little harder so I could have had that one TV that was just, it was $100 more, but I just couldn't fit it in the budget. But if I would have just worked few more hours, I could have got that TV that went out of style 10 months later. Nobody's going to wish for that. But you are going to look back and think, I wish I would have spent more time growing. I wish I would have spent more time in God's presence. I wish I would have spent more time learning something. I wish I would have spent more time with the people in my life that I care about, with my friends and with my family. Those are things you're going to regret. You have a limited number of days. Use them for the maximum benefits in the end. Ultimately to serve God and pursue his kingdom, but also to enjoy life. He didn't give you life so every day can suck. He gave you life to enjoy it. Not that that's the ultimate goal, but it is part of living for him, that you can enjoy life. Psalm 90, verse 12 says, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. When you're young, and I think all of us are in the young category, but I remember thinking when I was a teenager especially, that just feeling like life is never going to end. And like, wow, especially if you're in a really boring biology class and you're like, man, what is the point of all of this stuff? And so I take a boring class now, and next semester another boring class, then I go to college and I take 4 years of boring classes, and then I get a boring job, and then I just wait for it all to end one day, and then you just feel like it's never going to end. When you're in your 90s, you realize it's very short. And And that was very eye-opening to me in these interviews. Some of these guys just talking about how quickly life goes. So take advantage of each day. Suck the marrow out of each day. Harvest each day for everything you can get out of it. Enjoy each day for God. Lesson 16. Happiness is a choice, not a condition. One 75-year-old shared this. You are not responsible for all the things that happen to you, but you are completely in control of your attitude and your reactions to them. Amen. If you feel annoyance, fear, or disappointment, these feelings are caused by you and must be dug out like a weed. Study where they came from, accept them as yours, and then let them go. If you let outside pressures determine how you feel and what you do, you have just abdicated your job as CEO of your own life. Happiness is a choice, not a condition. You have to choose to be happy. You have to choose to be joyful. You have to choose to control your own thoughts, your own mind, and focus on Jesus. And no matter what you might suffer in life, you have to choose to pass through it with a good attitude. I mean, you don't have to. You could choose to be grumpy for the rest of your life and get hung up on what happened when you were 14 and Susie looked at me weird and then she dumped me and they laughed at me. And you could be hung up on that for 80 years if you want to, but your life will be miserable. Instead, I would recommend you choose to be happy. You choose to be joyful and pass through it. Many of these guys shared just hard stories of passing through, abusive marriages, losing children. One woman, she talked about her daughter was 20. She was in college to be in an acting school, and she had a super bubbly, happy, joyful personality, very extroverted people person. She was doing really well in the acting school and made a friend from Costa Rica. Well, during spring break, she asked if they could go together down to visit her family in Costa Rica, stay in their house there, and so the parents said, sure, go ahead. The airplane ended up crashing. On the way to Costa Rica, it crashed and she died. Their daughter died at 20 years old. She said it so destroyed her that she basically cut out everybody and everything in her life, just sank into a depression and felt like she wanted to die. But she wouldn't take her own life, but she was waiting to die. And after 2 years of that, her other daughter came to her one day and just looked at her and goes, Mom, with you like this, it makes me not want to be around you, and you're pushing me away. And she just walked away. And the mom, she said it hit her, and she's like, I can't do that. I lost my one daughter. I can't lose my other daughter, and I can't lose my husband. I got to change. And so she just said, all right, I'm going to be happy. She got up, and she cleaned the house. She cooked some food, and she chose to be happy. And she looks at that, talks about that as a turning point in her life, where she realized that happiness is a choice. It's not, oh, everything happened right in my life, and the stars aligned, and so therefore I'm happy. It's you choose, I don't care what I'm passing through, I'm going to have a good attitude about it. I'm going to be happy despite what's going on. One 80-year-old said, lots of unpleasant things are going to happen to you in life. And when they do, you have two choices. You can mope and sulk and feel sorry for yourself, or you can put on a brave face and get on with your life. An 84-year-old said, there is plenty of pain to go around, but if you get stuck in it, you don't move on. I think you have to adopt a policy of being joyful. I don't think that joy and happiness just come at you. You make them. This one 67-year-old, she shared a story of when she was in her 40s, she suffered a stroke, like out of nowhere. She was paralyzed for, I think it was 18 months. Yeah, 18 months she was paralyzed and in the hospital. She went completely blind. And then she went through some physical therapy, and now she's able to move around. She's still blind. Physical therapy doesn't help with that. And the left side of her body is still numb, and now her right hand is having some problems as well. But she's able to get up and move around and function. She's 67 now. She says, the first thing I had to do was decide not to feel sorry for myself. If I hadn't done that, I'd be sitting around having pity parties. You know what happens in a pity party? Satan brings chips. I like that. I realized that I was just so glad to be alive. There was a time when I couldn't even get out of bed by myself. I get up so early now, around 5 a.m., because I'm just so happy that I can get up on my own. You have to do what you have to do, because that's the way I was raised. Don't drag your behind. Get up and do what you have to do. Do it. Get it out of the way. My mom used to say, get up. You can't get nothing done lying in the bed. That's what I did. I eventually got up and made a life. Many of them shared these heartbreaking stories of passing through hardship, and then they had to make a decision. Am I going to let this hardship destroy me and get into a funk and feel sorry for myself and get stuck there? Or am I going to get up, be happy, take control of my mind, take control of my attitude, and get the job done because people around me are depending on me? So don't get stuck. You are in charge of your attitude. Choose to be happy. Lesson 17. Time spent worrying is time wasted. He writes in the book, sometimes the expert's advice was unambiguous, and so it was with this lesson. Over and over, as they reflected on their lives, I heard versions of, I would have spent less time worrying, and I regret that I worried so much about everything. Indeed, from the vantage point of late life, if offered a do-over, many experts would like to have all the time back that they spent fretting anxiously over the future. 103 times the Bible tells us, fear not, in the King James Version. I didn't look up others. It's the phrase fear not is the most repeated command in the entire Bible. Over 400 other times, the Bible talks in general about not being afraid, not worrying, not giving in to fear, trusting God to provide for us and take care of us. Don't waste your time by worrying. It's not going to do you any good. It's only going to make you frustrated and worried and lose your peace. Trust God. Don't waste time worrying. In the book, he says, their advice on this issue is devastatingly simple and direct. Worry is an enormous waste of your precious and limited time. They conveyed in urgent terms that worry is an unnecessary barrier to joy and contentment. It's like, I know we all get it, so do it. Stop giving in to worry. When you feel yourself starting to stress out because, my boss said that they're going to start downsizing, or, it's snowing. Am I going to be able to drive in the snow? I don't know. Our car doesn't have good snow tires right now. Okay, maybe get some good snow tires. You live in Wisconsin. It's the wintertime. That would be good to do. But don't worry about it. Just change it if you can. If you can't change it, trust God. Worry is not going to help you. I know we get it. I know we know it. Well, practice it. Do it. Stop giving in to fear and worry. It's not going to change. It's not going to make anything better. It's going to make you stressed and going to make your health worse, but it's not going to solve anything. One 83-year-old said, don't believe that worrying will solve or help anything. It won't. So stop it. Now, what if you're worried about being buried alive in a box? Stop it. Stop it. If you don't know the reference, you should look up Bob Newhart. Stop it. And it's hilarious. We're going to close with this one. Lesson 18. Think small. He writes in the book, younger people from the elder's vantage point are often obsessed with future plans and involved in such a hectic lifestyle that they cannot attend to the joyful aspects of the present moment. Because of their limited time horizon, in other words, they're going to die soon, because of that, the experts have become attuned to the minute pleasures that younger people often are only aware of if they have been deprived of them. A morning cup of coffee, a warm bed on a winter night, a brightly, Jesse, as soon as I said coffee, she got all excited over there. Now I lost my place. A morning cup of coffee, a warm bed on a winter night. Oh, was that the one? Yeah, that one's good too. Yeah. A brightly colored bird feeding on the lawn. An unexpected letter from a friend. Even a favorite song on the radio. All these are pleasures mentioned in my interviews. Paying special attention to these micro-level events forms a fabric of happiness that lifts them up on a daily basis. One 80-year-old woman who is a poet, she wrote, if I were to give any particular word of advice, I would say, go about the business of the day, humdrum as it might be, but walk on your tiptoes, waiting for the aha experiences. That way, you're always open to and watching for something different, watching for a feather from an angel's wing. Think small. See God's little blessings in your life every day. And I think going back to travel more, since going on mission trips and traveling more, this has developed in me way more. Even still, hot showers, AC, roads without potholes, being able to register your car in less than 2 months. These are minute pleasures that are huge because I've traveled a lot and lived in other countries and grown to appreciate the things that are good in America. And a corollary of this, thinking small, seeing the little ways that God is blessing you in life and really appreciating that stuff, a corollary of it is live in the moment. Don't be stuck on your phone scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or whatever you like to scroll through, or looking up every little thing on Google all the time. Appreciate where you are. Look outside. See the sunset. See the birds flying. Look at the rainbow, the clouds, whatever. Be where you are. Live in the moment and suck the joy out of it. God has given us life. And so many times we get wrapped up in worry, fear, or just stuck in trying to work to survive, or Facebook and YouTube and all these dumb things. And we don't see the awesome stuff that God is doing in our lives and the way he's blessing us in even small things. Think small. Live in the moment. Be where you are. Enjoy the life that God has given you. See him blessing you day by day, moment by moment. And let me close with this scripture. Psalm 118, verse 24. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. He has given us every day. Let's rejoice in it. Let's receive it as a gift from him. Because one day, our days will be done, and we'll have eternal days up in heaven. But this life now, it's not a throwaway. Yeah, it's preparation for the next world. And yeah, eternal life, we'll really be living that. And I'd have no idea what it's going to be like. But this isn't just like disposable. It's not that God doesn't care about this life. He gave us this life now to use for him, to be blessed by it, to enjoy it, and to use it for him and his kingdom and his glory. So don't just throw it away, but suck the marrow out of each day. Enjoy each day to its max. Live each moment for God, and don't have regrets at the end. Amen. Lord, I want to thank you for these lessons for living, and thank you for the wisdom of these men and women that have lived a lot longer than us. And that book was written in the early 2000s, I think. And so most of them are probably gone by now, if not all of them. But Father, thank you for the wisdom that they share. And so much of it aligns directly with the scriptures. Father, I pray that we wouldn't wait till we're old and in our 80s or 90s to learn this stuff, that we would receive it now, that we would live in the moment now, that we would seize the day, harvest the day now, that we would think small and appreciate the blessings that we have now, that we would number our days now and realize that time is short, so live for God now in every moment. Do everything we can now to the utmost for you. Lord, that we wouldn't wait till we're older to receive this and to change our lives, but that we would change our lives now so that we can live without regrets and finish well. In Jesus' name, amen.